if you ask what is digitization all about, it's not about automating something or installing a software. That is not digitization. Digitization at its core is understanding that technology is so mature and doesn't cost so much anymore as it used to be, that you can use it to redefine your business model, that you can leverage it to do something that nobody else is able to do. And that on top of that, anyone can do that. Not just a big company with a lot of money, but also a couple of people with a bright idea can do that. And that is the game changer that digitization is all about. And so for us, it's understanding that how do you make the differentiation or the distinction between two ports is not because you can say, listen, I make sure that your ship and your cargo will be able to arrive in the port, but how effective am I in this port in getting my cargo through? How transparent can I follow what is taking place? How do all these stakeholders work together? And that's not just the physical world, but also how do they exchange information to make sure no time is wasted, that no errors are being made. And if you can do that well, that enables you to reposition yourselves in the value chain. And that is the competitive position. So digitization is probably more than ever, the way you can differentiate yourself from everybody else, because you bring added value that distinguish you from the pack. The key takeaways from COVID, from my perspective, looking at what happened, was the prime objective was, let's make sure the sport stays operational. And from a logistics supply chain perspective, the lack of transparency became very visible, which was not something new, something we knew already, but it became more apparent. And it triggered, I think, in the mindset of people, a shift in priority with regard to how can we make sure that using digital and using innovation, we can become more transparent and more agile in the supply chain.
The Port of Antwerp, it's an ideal location because you have a mixture of mobility, of logistics, of industry. And that's why the port was an ideal place, and especially the Port of Antwerp as an institution was a very good partner to start this reflection and to see how we can use 5G in a port environment.
The collaboration started because we, as part of our digital roadmap and vision, we understood that 5G would be a key enabler from a technology infrastructure perspective.
We have a sort of an open innovation group of companies, and a key element from the beginning in the good functioning of this team was trust. So from day one, we asked them to be as open as possible, with also the understanding that what was said and what would be communicated externally would always be validated by them. Now, this was also very important because it enables us to do different use cases with each of the partners.
The digital transformation of the supply chain will be able to reduce a lot of risk because, first of all, it will create transparency. The big challenge in the global supply chain is that it still runs on technologies from the 90s and is very scattered in its information flow. So the information flow doesn't follow at the same pace as the physical flow. Once you have transparency, you can start working on operational efficiency, and risk mitigation. And the final step following is that because of the increased transparency and multiple instances of a operational efficient or riskless process, that it will generate ideas for innovation. So it's transparency first, then comes operational efficiency and risk reduction, and then finally you have innovation. And that is really desperately needed because a recent study from Gartner again made clear that 48% of all the initiatives in supply chain are aiming for transparency.
Or you have a mixture of production, of logistics, of warehousing. And 5G has, I would say, the feature that it can enable a lot of different applications in these different worlds, because it enables you to connect from a distance, from a mobility standpoint. You can provide a high, I would say, high quality, high performing data connection with a low latency and with a huge capacity. And that is typically something you need in an industrial environment, because of course, you need a secure and reliable network.
Orange Business Services.